Welcome to my video on how to play Texas Hold'em. I'm Patrick and I'm going to be your card playing coach for this video. I love playing poker and I love playing for money. But before you sit down and play for money, there are a couple things that you should know. The first big one are, what are the rules of poker? Here are the hands and how they're ranked. And you need to study these quite a bit and get familiar with them before you sit down to play any type of poker. The second thing is go ahead and play online for free. Find some video game where you can play poker online for free, specifically Texas Hold'em and some other games. Win a couple $1,000,000, lose a couple $1,000,000, it's all for free, and it'll teach you how the game works in general, about betting and how the card play goes at the table. Once you get your basic knowledge and skills down for the game, then the next step is determine how much money you want to risk. Start something low, start something that isn't going to change your life. Maybe $50, maybe $100, maybe more, but don't let it get on your mind when you lose it, because you are many times, even the best poker players lose all the money they have to risk at some point. The next step of playing is to play in the casino. The biggest amount of square footage in the casino is allotted to slot machines. You can play those. I don't. I don't play any games where you're playing against the house, but they're flashy, they're loud. You might go ahead and try that. The subset to the slot machines are video poker. I definitely recommend you take a few 20s here and there and learn how to play video poker in the casino. It'll also teach you all the rankings of the hands when you play video poker. The next step is to sit down at the most common table games in the casino, including blackjack, roulette, craps. Now, I would say that I don't play those anymore. I did when I was younger because poker wasn't as popular. But you're playing against the house, and understand percentage-wise, the house is always going to win. 51%, 52% of the time. Your odds of winning are not even equal to average. So even if you're a great table game player, you're not going to do that great. I don't care what people say. So that brings us to playing poker in the casino. The first thing is that you're playing against other individuals, and so you actually have a real chance of winning if you're good enough. However, the casino's there to make money. They're going to take money out of every pot of poker you play, $1 or $2, maybe $5 out of every pot. Even when you win, they're going to take money out. It does add up. They're there to make money. They're hosting you. They're giving you the safe environment to play. It makes sense. They stay in business doing that way. The first thing you need to know when you sit down at a poker table is, what is the buy-in amount? In a casino, it's typically $100 minimum, up to $500, unless you're playing the bigger tables. Where you get your poker chips are not typically at the table, although some places do sell them at the tables. Most of the time you have to walk across the room and get your poker chips at the cashier and then come back to the table. You can do that before or after you actually get your seat at the table. Be aware of the blind amounts in Texas Hold'em and other poker game tables. Typically it's a 1-2, 1 small blind, 2 large blind, although a lot of casinos in the last few years have moved it up to 1-3, $1, $3 for the big blind. Then there is all the etiquette rules at the table. First is no cursing at the table in the casino. Next is no filming with your cell phone of the active hands at the table. Only take some still photos in between hands of your chip stack or some other things happening in the casino. They're all right with that, but no filming unless you specifically get permission. Next is always leave your cards on the table. Don't ever pick them up off the felt. Don't put them on the railing. Don't put them up at your chest and look at them. Fold the cards on the felt to look at them. Never take them off the felt. Stack your big quantity chips, your highest dollar chips, in front of your other chips so people can clearly see how much money you have in front of you. Other players specifically will call you out on this because they want to see how much you have, so when they're betting against you, they know what your options are. The dealer will enforce it if another player calls it out. They typically won't tell you until another player points it out. And tapping on the table, no matter when it is, even nervous tapping is considered checking, even checking out a turn. Be careful with your nervous tapping. Someone will call you out on that. Acting out a turn, saying what you're going to do before it's your turn will get you in trouble at the casino table. The first time you'll get warned. After that, you might get punished. You might be told to leave the table for a while, or even repeated times can actually get you banned from a table. The big blind always moves one space or more to the next active person. The big blind doesn't skip anyone, although the small blind, very possibly you don't have a small blind on certain hands, and some people may have to miss a hand of poker when they come in that position. In a cash game, you're allowed to chop the blinds. If no one else puts money out and the blinds don't want to play, the small blind can ask the big blind, do you want to chop? And they just take their money back. The casino does not take any rake at that time, so it benefits both players not to play. Although, if someone has a pretty good hand, they're going to want to play so that they can get possible rewards from the casino. Try your best never to show your cards when the hand is over, unless the etiquette is that you have to show to win the hand. Never try to brag about the cards. Even aces in your hand, try not to show them. Keep people guessing. Don't let them get an idea of what you bet on and what you bluff on. Don't show your cards. Do your best not to show your cards. If you need to get up from your seat when you're at a cash table playing poker, you can go ahead and get up and leave. There's 17 cameras watching your money. It's probably the safest place, except for maybe a bank where you can leave your money out. No one's going to touch it, and if they do touch it, they're going to get in trouble pretty quick. So you can get up and leave, go to the bathroom, go eat, whatever. But remember that you only have a certain amount of time before you're required to come back to the table. If you take over that amount of time, they may remove your chips and you have to go to the cashier to go claim your chips. And then you'll have to get it in line and get a new table if that happens. I usually have one or two drinks while I'm playing. It's a social environment. I like doing that. But if you have more than one or two drinks, it is going to affect how you play. And if you're drunk, you're not going to win, no matter who you are. I've just never seen someone really actually drunk and win any particular series of playing poker. That doesn't mean that you can't get sloshed and play anyway. Just understand you're doing it for the entertainment, and that's pretty expensive entertainment per hour. I think you can find something better to do than put $500 down and let it go in an hour because you're playing drunk. Casino tournaments, most of the rules in the cash games, transfer, convey, are the same over in the tournaments except the following. Everyone starts with the same number of chips, unlike at the cash table. The number of chips that you're going to have are going to be quite larger than the dollar amount you pay to enter the tournament, maybe 10 times more. But they don't have cash value, they're just representing a number of chips, not dollars. Unlike cash games, once you're out, you're out. There's no rebuy to sit back down at the table. You might be able to rebuy back into certain tournaments, but that's starting from ground zero, and they may not have any more seats, or it's timed out from when you can rebuy into the tournament. There's no chopping of the small and big blinds if no one else bets. You have to play the hand out in a tournament. The blinds are always increasing in the tournament, always going up, and there will always be one or two people who say that it's not fair, the blinds go up too fast. Understand those people have probably played a dozen tournaments or more, and so they know exactly what it is. They're just whining to hear themselves talk. Understand the blinds have to go up to remove players from the tournament and get it down to a winner in a reasonable amount of time. It's just how tournaments work. The last difference between cash games and tournaments are the antes. In tournaments, they will impose antes later on in the levels. Again, this is a method to make the game go a little bit faster. Although there's been a trend over the last few years that casinos are going to having the big blind pay double to cover all the antes at the table. That's pretty harsh on the big blind, and it usually blinds people out at that point, but it seems to make the table go a little bit smoother. Now it's on to home cash games. So, in a typical home cash game, the buy-in amounts and the amount of money on the table is a lot less than in the casino. Maybe a third, maybe a fourth of what you'd typically see on a casino table. You typically can rebuy in a home game just like at the casino table. The type of games could change at a home game on a table. There may be popular demand for a particular type of game to be played. So you might sit down and start playing Texas Hold'em, but that might morph into another game after an hour or so. And since there's either one table or two tables at a home cash game, you're just going to have to live with the popular vote. Some home cash games have the dealer able to choose what game is going to be dealt. Sometimes it's restricted to non-wildcard games. Sometimes not. Sometimes there are wildcard games. I won't get into that in this video. Typically, right now, most home games only include, for non-wildcard games, Texas Hold'em and Omaha, or versions of both. For home poker tournaments, most of the rules, same as the casino, convey over to the home poker tournaments, except the following. In general, the etiquette and the rules are more relaxed at a home game. You can get away with a few mistakes at the table. People will let you do a redo once in a while if it's not egregious. Generally, the buy-ins are much lower than in the casino. Also, home games typically don't enforce antes. It's hard to keep track of, and everyone complains about antes anyway, so you won't see antes in home poker tournaments. And lastly, the home is not taking a rake or a profit out of the tournaments that they run. They're not taking out the top. Now, they may take some money out for food and chips and maybe trophies, but it's a much smaller percentage than in the casino. So, as you play poker and Texas Hold'em, some of the skills that you will learn or bad habits that you will learn, first off, include bluffing. I truly believe that if you bluff more than once in 100 hands, then you're bluffing too much. Yeah, you want to do it once a night, maybe twice a night. You'll probably get caught. It's like stealing in baseball. You'll get caught as many times as you try it, but it keeps people wondering if you're capable of making a bluff. Any more than that, and it's just not going to work very well. People play their cards. Next is reading people. Reading people is an art, is a science, and it does work, but you have to be pretty good at noticing everything that someone's doing, every tell that they have. I'm not a master at that. I know some, I can pick up on some trends, but it takes a lifetime to learn how to read people that well. So with that, those are the rules and how to play Texas Hold'em poker. Now let's shuffle up and deal.